And I would keep telling him, and he obviously, it never, like all filmmakers and production houses, Excel, one of the biggest production houses, now they're producing a lot of streaming shows and all that, Made in Heaven and all that. But it didn't occur to him. One day, they decided that somebody wanted a DCP, digital cinema projection, which is what you see in movie theaters. And the hard drives were not there. Everything had vanished. But luckily for him, he had the original negative. So he went back, he scanned it again. Can you imagine the whole process of scanning again? And then he has now given us all the negatives in our archive, which I will talk about later, and we are able to preserve. And that is one of the reasons that we're going to talk about a little bit about what does restoration actually mean and how it should be restored. Because we all know that Khandar was rejected at Cannes. Or why was Pyasa and Pyasa, which was restored by Ultra, why did they feel that it was such a poor restoration that it doesn't even fit in the criteria of restoration? And that is because of the low-cost restorations what we are doing here. We are not regarding it as an art form. We're not thinking that Pyasa or a Nayak or a Charulata needs to be like an art form. And when I was part of the restoration of Kalpana, it took us nearly 2 years. Scorsese, was so particular. I learned from him, and I'll give you one example. There's a film called Leopard, or Lucino Visconti. Most of you must have seen it. And there are beautiful red roses in that. And they restored the whole film and they showed it to Scorsese, and he said, I remember as a child, the roses came because Mr. Visconti was from the royal family of Milan, and they used to come specially from Florence. And the red in the film, because I used to watch that film on theatre and it was this way. What went wrong? What went wrong is that you do not consult the cameraman, you do not consult the technicians of the film. You've got a young colorist who's sitting of this age today. He thinks that he can move the machines as the way he likes without keeping the aesthetics of what the film is. And that's what precisely he did. He changed some of the colors, and that is why I say we've got now enough of that sunflower of Van Gogh being yellow. Let's change it to blue. Yeah. It's enough. It's high time we change some of the paintings. Yeah, Mona Lisa and all. देख लिया बुरखा बुरखा में अभी क्या है उसको कुछ और करो. So why don't we do all that? Why only to films? Why films are only the example of that? So let me talk about what we mean by full-fledged restoration. There's a general lack of understanding that what it means to restore a film. A full-fledged film restoration goes beyond just digital scanning and cleaning. The approach is same as restoring a work of art or manuscript. The task of restoration involves studying the film and its production history, understanding the filmmaker's vision or his limitation, knowing the work of the cinematographer, the art director, the costume designer, all of which contribute to making the right choices and adhering to the filmmaker's vision. Gathering all existing film and non-film sources is the next crucial step of the restoration process of the work. And here's an example that when I was involved with the lodger of Hitchcock, I went to the BFI there, and what I saw was that they not only had the original negative, but they ran a worldwide campaign to collect all the material together, and each frame was being checked with 3 levels of the same material together. Which is the best particular frame for that scene? Is the director made a different version? Because many versions, many places you had a director's cut, then the distribution companies made their own cuts, sometimes sneakily, sometimes all kinds of things have happened. So you need to check each and every material, and then you need to have somebody who exists from that time. We did a whole campaign of Kalpana, of sending people across and asking them what were their images in mind when they were watching Kalpana, or when we did Nidhanya. So unless you are able to do it like an art form and gather all the information, restoration becomes very expensive. I want to talk about one very important effort by the Film Heritage Foundation, is that what really bothered me was that, we had a lot of celluloid films which would come to me, and I would suddenly say, my God, look at the celluloid, why can't we save it? And I had no answers. And this is something which still bothers me, and I keep talking to my team, but we got the first Konkani film. A filmmaker came to my office, brought the Konkani film in a newspaper. Is it there? Yeah, this is called Mogacho Ando. Now, why this film is so important? It's the first Konkani film made in 1950, during the time of the Portuguese. After that, there was no other film made till 1960, when they became part of the Indian government. So when he came in a newspaper, let's see some of the images of the film. Look at the way it's come. Now, do you believe, is there an image after that? Yeah. Do you believe we can save this film? Does anybody believe we can save this film? And so what do? Just treat it like human beings. Its films are like human beings. We put them through ICU. Same thing. But the problem is, once it goes through the ICU and you come out of it, you're going to end one day. It's just that we'll prolong the illness. So same way, we took it through the hydration and the rehydration treatment, drying, treating it, and using different techniques, just like a lab. And this was such a crucial film, but it just is a very time-consuming, which was done in Bologna. And you can see the lab, what all efforts they did to save it. And also treating it with camphor. So you need somebody with a science background also to be with you to be able to accomplish this project. And then it was done through a sprocketless scanner. That means frame by frame it was scanned. And but look at it now. This is before restoration. You've got the image. This is before restoration. But one of the most wonderful things was that I went and showed this to the actress of this film, and she got so excited. She called her son, who was probably also working somewhere, and said, because there was nothing existing except this little one reel, she said, and this was in Mumbai, and she said, "Now do you believe I acted in a film?" And that's what films do, So I'm going to now just talk about a little bit about